Alright, so now let's check V-Ray Fog MTL. I'm going to open my environment and add V-Ray Environment Fog. Now let's start our render. And I'm gonna stop it. Now let's go and increase our fog height to about 30 and see how this works. Okay, so you can see the fog rise, but it's very dense. So let's make it 1000 here, the fog distance. Alright, so you can see the fog starts to work nice and fine. Now we can play with the color in order to match the daylight a little bit better. So we can make it more orange, more yellowish, or more purple if we have some sunset or something like that. Now let's increase the size to 330 and the density to 10,000. Let me bring that back kind of grayish. Right, so here you can see the fog is working, but we get the emission fog on the white. So what we need to do is we need to flip this. Let's make it grayish somewhere here. And you can see here we kind of can fake that by flipping and swapping the colors here, which creates a nice misty effect. And we can check the atmosphere. This is how this fog is going to work. We can use that in the post-production in order to enhance our fog visibility. Now, in order to speed the things up, what we can do here is we can disconnect all of those guys, effect, shadows, reflections, GI, and we can disconnect use all lights. So generally speaking, this render should run way faster. You can see the pre-calculation pass went within just seconds because it's not being affected by reflections, GI, or shadows, and it's not taking in consideration the V-Ray light that we have here. Okay, so the next thing is I want to show you the gizmo option. So we can add here gizmos and limit our scene. I'm gonna press P, Z in order to go to my scene here. And as you can see, we have a gizmo. So click add and let's add this gizmo. Click C in order to go back to our camera. And now let's click render and see how this works. Okay, so we can see that the gizmo is limiting our box, our fog, to just that area right here, and we don't have any of the fog in front. So we can use gizmo in order to have a nice horizon line with the fog. I'm gonna stop this again, and now what we can do is we can use some effects. So I'm going to take this gizmo and remove it, and let's put our height to about 60 and the fog distance to 800. Let's click render. You can see nice and thick fog here. And now what we can do, we can use some effects on it. So here we have, that's a map of noise. It's been kind of lowered height, and half of the height, half of the low, so it looks something like this. and we can use that in the density right here. So in order this thing to work properly, let's switch back those guys here and click render. Now we don't see much because we need to increase our step size. So let's put our step size to about 1000 and the fog distance to about 1200 and click render. Now in order this to work properly, of course we need to activate back all of those use lights, and now let's click render. So you can see the mist starts to work here, but we're getting a lot of that stuff that's been spread around too much, so I'm going to cancel it. Now let's try to fix that. So let's duplicate this into fog color. Let's do the copy and drag this one here with instance and try to change colors to something like this. Let's try to render. Alright, pretty cool. We're getting nice mist around this area. Now we can also play with colors for the fog, so let's change it to something else. Let's try purplish colors. Something like this. Let's see how this works. Alright, pretty good stuff. And we get nice kind of shape just because we're using noise. The fog is not that uniform. I mean, we're having a lot of different variation going on in the fog, and I think this one looks a little bit more realistic than just using a regular fog. Alright, so those are the options for working with V-Ray Environment Fog. Now go ahead, check out the next video where I show other examples of using combined V-Ray Fog with aerial perspective.